CTV News with Kelly Gregg.
Good evening. We begin tonight with sad news. Former CTV chief anchor Lloyd Robertson has died.
Is there left to say, but thank you to everybody.
Robertson served as the lead anchor for CTV National News for 35 years, covering events like the fall of the Berlin Wall, 9/11, and Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope. Robertson started in broadcasting in 1952 and worked his way up the ranks to chief anchor and senior news editor. He was known for his calm demeanor as well as his signature sign-off, and that's the kind of day it's been. Robertson was 92 years old. It's been an issue residents in Pierrefonds know all too well. Many are still dealing with the aftermath of a flood in June, and at last night's council meeting, they shared their frustrations and their worries that it'll happen again. Denise Roberts has that story.
On June 20th, Victor Knowlton's backyard oasis suddenly turned into a babbling brook as water came sprouting up from the ground.
They're not really geysers, but we have water coming out of the ground in 4 different places.
It was too much water for his 5 pumps to handle, and they called the fire department for help.
They came in our backyard, said they had never seen anything like that before, and condemned it. They thought there was going to be a sinkhole and a landslide.
Today, the ground has dried, but evidence of the ordeal remains. Knowlton says he's applied for help from the borough, and like many others on his street, he's still waiting. Joseph Fong moved here 1 year ago and said he did his due diligence.
I was like, okay, this is not the flood zone, nowhere near the flood zone, nowhere near the edge of the island.
But on June 20th, when 150 millimeters fell in a matter of hours, water destroyed his basement anyway. At Monday night's Borough Council meeting, the first since the flood, residents gathered inside and outside to express their frustration.
If you could just let me finish, please.
Jim Bass said while he understands residents are upset, he's limited in what he can say due to a class action lawsuit.
The reality that we face here this evening, not because we don't want to say what we want to say, but because we're limited in our interventions because of a class action suit, unfortunately limits us in what I can tell you.
The applications for the class action lawsuits have not yet been approved. And even if they are, the entire process could take years to resolve. In the meantime, residents now have to decide whether it's worth it to rebuild.
Not until we find out where the water is actually coming from.
I'm taking my time because I want to know, okay, well, what can I do to minimize the damage for the potential next time?
Fearing it's a matter of when, not if. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
And in the Laurentians, floods have caused a state of emergency in l'Ascension. Some in the community just north of Mont-Tremblant are even trapped on their properties. Geneviève Beauchemin has that story.
And this is the main road in the town of l'Ascension, a town of 900 people. This is the fire station here, and right across is what's happened. The entire road has collapsed. People here are leaning on one another as they face widespread damage. Some have been left without electricity, without drinking water, and some are trapped in their homes by landslides and road collapses.
It was absolutely stunning to see the damage done in such a short period.
Penny Arn is hunkering down in her cottage. Roads leading up to her property have been washed away, sections of asphalt ripped up.
People who've been here 30, 40 years, they're like, we've seen storms and, the lake come up and whatnot, but this has not been seen.
105 millimeters of rain poured down on the region from Sunday to Monday, triggering a cascade of destructive events. Jocelyne Larose says she has never seen anything like it. I've lived here for 20 years and my husband is now stuck in a cottage he can't get out, she says. Rivers filled up and breached their banks. Half the village is now completely inaccessible from the other half. Other towns in the region, too, took a massive hit. And this was just the latest in a series of destructive storms that have swept through Quebec over the past few weeks. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, l'Ascension, Quebec.
Police and members of the Canadian Armed Forces were called in today after campers south of Montreal found a grenade. It happened near Lac Cristal in the Montérégie. An Army explosives team was deployed from Valcartier to assess the situation. Police are investigating how it ended up there. 3 people from Aguasasne are facing charges in connection with an investigation into international drug smuggling. U.S. officials say drug trafficking activity was operating through Aguasasne and involved suspects allegedly exchanging methamphetamine for firearms. A 47-year-old, a 38-year-old, and 81-year-old were arrested and charged. Police are asking for help to identify a suspect in an attempted murder. A 49-year-old man was stabbed on Perra Boulevard in RDP in May. Police have released images of the person they are looking for. The man is black, between 6'1" and 6'4", with shoulder-length dreadlocks. A $5,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to his arrest. Police have arrested a woman in connection with several burglaries in Longueuil that targeted seniors. Melanie Tanguay is facing charges for 3 separate incidents. Police believe there might be more victims, and they're asking people to come forward if they believe they had jewelry stolen by a house cleaner. And the Montreal Police Arson Squad has taken over an investigation into a fire at a mosque in Côte-des-Neiges. A truck parked near the building caught fire early Friday morning, causing heavy damage. Firefighters have yet to determine the cause, so the file was automatically transferred to the Arson Squad. There is yet another promise to do something about crime and clean up Chinatown. The city says this time it will be different. But the local residents and organizations are viewing the new plans with some caution. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil reports.
A vacant lot, a blank canvas. But to city officials, it's the start of something much bigger. The site at Saint-Laurent and René-Lévesque could one day become a mix of social housing, community and green space, and businesses. For many community advocates, the vision is encouraging. But some, like Mei Chu, say rebuilding trust will take time.
Developing an entire neighborhood that's over 150 years old is a challenge.
A new Chinatown alliance will help shape what comes next, bringing together residents, merchants, and community organizations. City officials say work is already underway.
That piece of land you're sitting on now is already bought. We've done more in the last 10 months that the previous administration had done in 8 years.
The city is also promising immediate change with a daily cleaning and a redesign of both Saint-Laurent and Clark Street. The new alliance holds its first meeting Friday. Community leaders say they want the spirit of the area at the heart of every decision.
Have a concept that can reunite people, that can represent Chinatown on its own.
Preserving that identity through architecture is a priority for the GIA Foundation.
These types of very typical buildings with businesses at the bottom and then like residence or office spaces at the top floors really are ubiquitous in Chinatown.
Others say improving quality of life also means making people feel safer. For years, civil rights group CRAR has been helping residents calling for action on public drug use, vandalism, and other safety issues.
For years, they have not been listened to. They've been forgotten at the expense of their safety and their well-being.
But for Chu, one priority stands above the rest: social housing.
So that, a lot of the vulnerable people, the seniors, the workers of Chinatown who work on minimum wage and who live in Chinatown now can continue to maintain their home in Chinatown.
As the neighborhood gets ready for its annual Chinatown Day celebration Saturday, many say they're ready to embrace change, so long as the neighborhood's history and the people who call it home aren't left behind. Laurence Brisson-Dubreuil, CTV News.
After months of sitting at the dock, the Hudson-Oka Ferry will be back in service tomorrow. Only one boat will be operating between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. It comes after discussions between the ferry operator and Transport Canada. The ferry had been out of service since the start of the season because of mechanical and administrative problems. With more young people turning to Kids Help Phone, a Montreal psychologist says it's important for parents to know when to intervene. Those higher numbers mean there is greater awareness, though, and willingness to reach out for help. And some of those issues could be normal.
I wouldn't say that this statistic should kind of lead parents to panic. I think in general, as parents, it is important to note that adolescence and youth was always a period when young people went through many changes, they felt a bit vulnerable, there are emotional ups and downs, and not all emotional ups and downs mean that there is a problem. Some of it is just part of growing up, if you remember your own youth. However, it is important as parents to notice, to be present, to ask, to kind of be there for young people. We know more and more that even though it's true that people are relying on things like texting and online supports, we know that there is no doubt that having the presence of a good adult in your life who's there for you, whom you can ask help, who notices if there are changes, is perhaps one of the best mental health promoting things for young people.
The mental health hotline says compared to last year, the number of overnight texts went up 24% in the first half of 2026. Police have released their report on road deaths during this year's construction holiday. In all, 18 people died, and police say in all of the collisions, either speed or distracted and impaired driving was a factor. 6 of the collisions involved a motorcycle. The total number of deaths is down from last year, the deadliest construction holiday period on record, when 25 people died. The former head of the Chamber of Commerce of Greater Montreal will run for the Liberals in the next provincial election. Michel Leblanc's candidacy will be officially announced tomorrow. He will run in the Montreal riding of Marguerite Bourgeois, which is a Liberal stronghold. The current MNA for Marguerite Bourgeois is Frédéric Beauchemin, and he will run in the riding of Brome-Missisquoi in the Eastern Townships. The Quebec election is on October 5th. The most recent measles outbreak in Quebec is now classified as officially over. There were 28 cases recorded, suggesting the spread of the virus was limited. For a measles outbreak to be declared over, there must be 32 days since the last infectious case. A cheese recall has been issued in Quebec. It is for white cheddar cheeses made by the dairy company Coaticook. Listeria contamination. The recall covers mild cheddar cheese, curds, and block cheeses from a lot marked refrigerate after July 24th, 2026, and best before August 8th, 2026. An important anniversary today. It was 325 years ago that Governor of New France and the 39 First Nations signed what is known as the Treaty of the Great Peace. It ended nearly 100 years of war fought mostly over control of the North American fur trade. An original copy of the treaty dating back to 1701 is currently on display at the Pointe-à-Carrière Museum.
This one is a genuine original copy of 1701, written probably the same day or a few days after the signature of the treaty. So it's really, we are lucky to have this document and so well conserved.
Turning to sports now, Montreal's Gabriel Diallo was forced to abandon his match tonight at the National Bank Open due to injury. Coming into tonight, Diallo's ranking fell outside the top 100 for the first time since 2024. He advanced to the round of 64 with a thrilling comeback on Monday, but was forced to leave the match in the second set. He's the second Canadian to retire because of injury today alone. Earlier this afternoon, Denis Shapovalov also forfeited. Canada's men's national soccer team will play the United States this fall. The match will be in October 6th in St. Paul, Minnesota. It'll be the first meeting between the two countries since Canada beat the U.S. for third place in the 2025 CONCACAF Nations League. Both countries reached the round of 16 in this summer's World Cup. Still to come, the latest tall ship to visit Canada's shores and wow visitors with its beauty. Thousands turned out to see the Italian tall ship in Montreal's Old Port, and in Halifax, a similar German version was also turning heads. It's in eastern Canada as part of its longest voyage in decades. Callum Smith reports.
Measuring over 81 meters long and having been a training opportunity for more than 18,000 cadets, the Gorchfock is a German icon. Its captain says stopping in Halifax is important to honor 75 years of Canadian-German relations.
But more than that, we also have a very strong Canadian-German defense cooperation.
This is one of the ship's longest voyages in decades, starting back in early April, featuring stops in France, Spain, Bermuda, and several American cities for Sail 250 activities, and racing her 3 active so-called sister ships. While the original Gorchfock is now a museum ship, long lines formed to get a closer look at this one, launching nearly 70 years ago.
Unbelievable that we get so much attention here in Halifax. I mean, we are here just for us, for regular port visitors. No sailing event, no other tall ships. People come to us just to see and visit Gorchfock. That's a great honor for us.
Climbing aboard was a unique opportunity, especially for this German man who calls Canada home.
A piece of home, for sure. I thought, I got to go on there. It's once in a lifetime, and how is the chance coming from BC and all of a sudden see the Gorchfock here? It's like, wow, incredible, but beautiful ship.
It's also taught cadets soft skills, says midshipman Eric Schultz.
How to get used to sleep deprivation, how to get used to pulling on ropes all the time. I mean, setting the sails, it's all manpower, so you can't just say, no, today I'm not feeling like it. You just have to do it.
The ship is relocating to HMC Dockyard for a crew swap and 2 weeks of training before departing for Iceland, then home.
Crossing the Atlantic, North Atlantic, during that time is quite something. We will expect high winds and high seas, of course, and therefore that's nautical-wise probably the most challenging part of this whole journey for us.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
A huge piece of an unmanned SpaceX rocket is on a collision course with the moon. When it hits tomorrow morning, it's expected to create a massive dust cloud, and astronomers will be watching. Tom Costello has more.
It's magnificent. I got a picture of it with the wide lens.
4 months after the world watched the Artemis II crew's spectacular lunar flyby, a piece of space junk is about to slam into the lunar surface at 5,400 miles per hour.
Ignition and liftoff.
It was January 2025 that a SpaceX rocket sent 2 robotic landers to the moon. Now, as an accidental bonus, the massive rocket booster is getting pulled closer and closer to the moon.
What has happened is essentially a mixture of solar activity and gravity forces have put it on a path towards the moon.
At 2:34 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, that booster will crash into the moon, digging a massive new crater. The expected explosion will send a plume of lunar dirt and dust as high as 60 miles above the lunar surface, which astronomers around the world are eager to examine.
It's a real scientific way of learning more about what the moon's made up of.
Orbiting probes will document the impact, with NASA hoping to learn more about what's under the lunar surface. Artemis 4 astronauts are expected to land on the moon within 2 years. Ultimately, NASA wants to create an Artemis base camp on the moon and use that to go to Mars.
We're learning and building up to doing something extremely hard, being able to operate astronaut crews on a near continuous basis on the lunar surface.
Meanwhile, this upcoming space junk crash underscores a big concern for NASA. There are now more than 130 million pieces of space junk orbiting the Earth. From pieces of rockets and dead satellites to straps and covers, hardware, bolts, and nuts. Last year, a Chinese spaceship with astronauts on board was hit by debris, and all of it poses potential lethal risks to astronauts, other satellites, and humans on Earth as it all re-enters Earth's atmosphere.
And speaking of space, another Canadian is preparing to go into orbit. Joshua Kutrick of Alberta will be one of 4 astronauts headed to the ISS.
For me, I would just spend a few minutes here to talk about the enormous sense of gratitude that the 4 of us feel for everyone who has gone into making this mission possible. You know, personally, myself, I grew up on a cattle farm in Canada. It's a long way from being here with this mission in front of us. But the one thing that has resonated at every twist and turn in that journey has been the complexity of these missions, and because of that, the enormity of the teams that go into pulling missions like this off. So we need to say thank you to everyone.
Kutrick and his crewmates will be there 6 months, conducting experiments and doing maintenance work. Liftoff from Florida is scheduled for September 12th. While some struggle to get out on a run, an Ottawa man is preparing for an ultra marathon. The total distance, 320 kilometers, roughly the same distance between Montreal to Sherbrooke and back. Camille Wilson has his story.
Rudy Asir is gearing up for the biggest run of his life.
All day, all night. You keep going, no stopping until you finish this thing.
Physically preparing for a 200-mile ultramarathon and raising awareness for those suffering with mental health.
As difficult as life may be, one step at a time, things can get better. And the biggest thing is you're not alone. All the way through the Rockies.
Starting August 10th, Asir will have 5 days to complete the 100-hour race across Alberta, something the endurance athlete has been training for.
I've done a couple 100-mile ultramarathons in the past, and I just love pushing my body to seeing what it's capable of doing.
This test is also a personal one for Asir, running the race to honor his sister, Martha.
Unfortunately, mental illness got the better of her. She suffered from bipolar disease and really had a struggle and a hard time trying to get access to resources and things.
Running the 200 miles, this is something that even me thinking about gives me chest pain.
Dr. Quadro Caramanting, ICU physician at the Ottawa Hospital, says the mental health crisis is something he deals with on a regular basis in the intensive care unit.
The amount of people that are coming in with self-harm, that commit suicide, and in some ways it feels like these issues are getting worse, especially for our youth.
As an advocate for mental health, it's a test Asir is determined to finish and inspire others.
Ultimately, the message is super clear that you're not alone, and if you need help, please reach out. I really hope that this sheds a light on it, that, hey, this is wild and crazy, and maybe I could do something interesting like this.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca. Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, Montreal finally saw some beautiful sunshine today after a couple of rainy, gray days, but we are not done with the wet weather. We have more on the way. Plus, the humidity is reminding us that summer is far from over. It's going to be even warmer tomorrow. Today's daytime high was 2 degrees above the seasonal 26, so we hit 28 degrees, but thanks to the humidity, it felt like 33 at times, and tomorrow the humidex is going to be even more fierce. Let's put our futurecast in motion right now. Pretty straightforward forecast for the next 24 hours. Clear skies overnight, and we hold on to that into the early morning hours, starting our Wednesday off with lots of sunshine, which we'll hold on to throughout the day, so another gorgeous day for Wednesday. Into the evening, we do have a few clouds, but we should see some clearing into the early morning hours. However, Thursday, we are anticipating the risk of some thunderstorms later in the day, so I'm going to be keeping my eye on that for you all. So overnight tonight, it will be another warmer, slightly warmer than seasonal night. We have a low of 17 degrees with clear skies. The winds won't be gusting, so can't get a nice breeze for to cool off. Tomorrow, we start off at 19 degrees, but we're expecting a daytime high of 30, feeling like 35. If we look at our longer range forecast, we can see there is a trend in terms of the humidity hanging on. Let's talk about our Thursday. We could see around 2 millimeters of rain, a high of 29, feeling like 39. It'll feel like 38 on Friday. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies. Looks like we could see around 5 millimeters of rain late day on Friday. Saturday, we have around 4 millimeters in the forecast with the risk of some thunderstorms, a high of 28, feeling like 37. It'll be 28 on Sunday as well, feeling like 35 with an additional 2 millimeters of rain there and the risk of some thunderstorms. Rain holding on for Monday and Tuesday. We're looking at feels like values in the 30s, so 27 will be what we're anticipating, but feeling like 33. And then this time next week, we're looking at a high of 26, feeling like 32.
Well, that wraps it up for us tonight. For the latest news, you can listen to the Andrew Carter Morning Show at 5 a.m. on CJD 800. And of course, you can always head to ctvnewsmontreal.ca for more coverage. Thank you so much for joining us, and we leave you tonight with these lasting images of Lloyd Robertson.